Okay, so this is my first ever attempt at recording myself playing a video game. I decided to start with one of my classic favorites from childhood, Sleuth. Sleuth was basically a clone, a ripoff, a knockoff of Clue. The object of the game is to explore a mansion and determine who a killer was and what weapon they used and what room they did it in. So basically Clue. And let's take a look at the game without any further ado. I have DOSBox running here, and I think it's Sleuth. We'll run the Sleuth bat. There it is, Sleuth. This game was programmed by Eric N. Miller of Norland Software. I have a feeling, based on this address, 1433 North Fuller Avenue, number 6, that this is an apartment. I think it's just somebody sitting at home programming a game, and then they were able to get it distributed under a shareware license where basically you could just make copies of the game, pass it around among your friends, and then, like it says on the screen here, there's a suggested donation to send to Eric N. Miller. So just to confirm, I'm going to look up that address here and see. 1433 North Fuller. That would be in West Hollywood, just south, I think, of Sunset Boulevard, if I remember correctly. Putting my Lyft driving skills, years of experience to use. All right, there we go. There's the there's the headquarters of Norland Software at 1433 North Fuller. I suspect that Eric N. Miller is no longer there since this game came out in 1983. So let's give it a play. Press any key to begin the game. All right, we have a couple of options: basic sleuth, personalized sleuth. Review the instructions. I did check the instruction file is missing, so if I do that, it'll just kick me out of the game. But we're going to play B for personalized sleuth, where we get to choose basically the names of all the characters. So there's going to be 7 suspects. First suspect, we're going to go with Jon Snow. Second suspect, let's go with Tyrion Lannister. For our third suspect, we're going to go with, let's see, I picked 2 guys. Let's go with Yara Greyjoy. And for another one, Arya, I believe that's spelled correctly, Arya Stark. We have 3 more suspects to go. Let's see here. Who else should we include? How about Nymeria? Oh, I forgot you can't put space. I gotta hit enter. Sand. Nymeria Sand. Another good one might be Ramsay Bolton. I don't know. And for our final suspect, let's put, I don't know, Olenna Tyrell. And before I hit enter, basically what's going to happen is one of these 7 suspects is going to get murdered, and we're going to show up as a detective to investigate the murder. Now prepare yourself for some amazing graphics. Oh, I wish it hadn't gone so fast. Oh my goodness, Tyrion Lannister was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You're now standing at the front door of the Lannister estate. The door is open. Now, if I remember correctly, there's 2 different types of maps that you can play in Sleuth. And this is the main large mansion map, and there's another one that's like basically a 2-story floor plan. With this one in particular, I believe you can go, you stand on the front lawn, the grounds are immaculately groomed, and have difficulty seeing anything. It is storming heavily. So there's nothing to do outside, but I think that you can walk to and enter the mansion from 2 different doorways. Stand at the east entrance of the house. All right, so let's enter the house. Oh, and we run into somebody already. I'm the little yellow person, and obviously the blue people are the characters we created. The stairs are cut from marble. Yara Greyjoy nods a greeting as you pass. Okay, well, let's question Yara. Yara turns swiftly and answers, I spent the entire evening with Olena in the sewing room. Now, just between you and me and the walls, Inspector, I admired Tyrion greatly. Wouldn't want others to know about my little soft spot, though. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they're just trying to throw me off the scent. Let's check. I'm going to add a note. I went ahead and prepared myself a, of course, Microsoft DOS editor program running in a separate window that I'm going to throw on here so that I can take notes about what we learn along the way. So we've got Yara says she was with Olena in the sewing room. So if that is in fact true, that will eliminate the sewing room from being a possibility. Now let's go inspect some rooms. First room here on the right is the kitchen. This is the kitchen. The room is equipped to handle large cooking tasks. This family seems to place great importance on fine cuisine. A bright brass pot hangs from the ceiling. All right, so what you can do in this game is you can examine things. I'll give you an example real quick. You can examine the kitchen. You can't search the entire room, but you can examine specific objects in the room. And so let's examine the floor. I can't see anything unusual about the floor, but then I'm rather nearsighted. Now, that's going to come into play later, but for now, let's examine the pot. It doesn't look like the murder weapon to me. Of course, without the magnifying glass, it's hard for me to be certain. Oh yeah, so this introduces a game mechanic where in this game, you actually have to first find a magnifying glass hidden somewhere in the mansion, and then you can go around actually using the magnifying glass to examine items and stuff. So let's try and, so the first objective is to find the magnifying glass. Okay, so we got the kitchen on the bottom right. This is the dining hall. That makes sense, right across from the kitchen. There's nobody in this room. There's a wet bar and a silver serving platter perched on the edge of the table. Now, if I examine it, it's not going to do me any good because I don't have the magnifying glass. So first we have to find the magnifying glass. It's a very luxurious mansion. All right, this is the butler's bedroom next to the kitchen. You've entered the butler's bedroom. The room is decorated in a simple but tasteful manner. The furniture is rather worn. A marble bookend sits on one of the shelves against the north wall. Arya Stark is searching for something under the bed. Suspicious. All right, so let's question Arya. Arya, can't hear you from all the way over there. Oh yeah, because my guy is. Let's go stand closer to Arya. Arya does not respond to your question. Well, that's very rude. Is it suspicious? I don't know. One thing you can also do in this game is you can search people. Sar takes great offense at your forward behavior, but allows the search anyway. You find nothing. I don't know what this ever could do. Now that I have Arya's attention, maybe she'll answer questions. Arya answers in an annoyed voice. John and I spent the entire evening together in the kitchen. Now, if you asked me, Nymeria is the only person who hated Tyrion enough to commit murder. Maybe that's who you should be questioning. All right, so Arya says she was with John in the kitchen. And then she threw some shade on Nymeria. Now, if I remember correctly, these clues of somebody accusing somebody else can be correct, but the murderer could also be doing it to throw you off of somebody else. So there's no telling. Let's go into another room. We will search under the bed later. All right, so we have a bathroom and Ramsay Bolton, someone I never want to run into in real life. And there's a hot tub in the corner, a large mirror covers the east wall, a shattered bottle of shampoo lies on the floor. Oh, that would be so worth investigating if I had the magnifying glass, but at least we can question Ramsay and find out what his story is. And then, let's see here, Ramsay replies haughtily, I spent the entire evening with Olena in the dining hall, and I must say that we were both mortified to hear of Tyrion's death. Now, something is not adding up here, because Yara also said that she was with Olena. So one of them is lying. That means Olena is definitely not the suspect. So let's put the Ramsay Switch here. Said he was with Elena in the dining hall. Everyone was getting along so well. I just can't imagine who would have wanted to see Tyrion dead. Sounds very, very suspicious to me. Would not put it past Ramsay to be the killer here. Something else you can do, sometimes you can examine certain objects in the room, so it'll give you kind of funny things like examine mirror. You can see yourself in the mirror. So the programmer clearly thought of random things you can do, but obviously, like these old DOS games, didn't think of everything. What would happen if I search Ramsay? I don't want to waste my time searching because I've never seen searching solve any crimes. Going down the main hall, let's go into the ballroom. There's nobody here. There's a crystal chandelier and a tuba. That could be the murder weapon. And let's see here. No magnifying glass. So we've got a couple more rooms left to look for the magnifying glass. Here's the sewing room where Yara said that they were with Elena. Oh, there's Jon Snow. You're standing. I don't see any reason to question Jon Snow since I know either Ramsay or Yara is lying to me. And he's just napping in one of the chairs, so no reason to bother him. Now, there's a reason that you don't want to do extra work in this game because it's kind of on a timer. Every time you do an action, it runs the timer or runs the clock. And once the clock runs out, eventually the killer will get suspicious of you being onto them, and they'll come after you and lock you in a room and kill you. So that's why you want to be economical with your actions. I've entered. Oh, here's Yara again. No point in questioning her again. She's just going to give me the same story. And let's see, I can see the front lawn. There's a brandy snifter. And so the parlor does not have the magnifying glass. I hate it because it's usually the last room I ever look in, which wastes a lot of time because then you have to go back through all the rooms and search them. So here's the vault. And of course, the magnifying glass is also not in here. But there's a piggy bank on the desk that could be the murder weapon, so we'll have to come back for that. And let's enter the final room, the master bedroom, where we're going to probably find the magnifying glass. And there it is. A magnifying glass is lying on the floor. There are no other objects in this room that could be a murder weapon. A teak dresser spans the west wall. Oh, lovely. So we're going to get the glass. You're now carrying the magnifying glass. There's nothing else to look at in this room, and if I wanted to search the floor, I have no idea where to search, and so I'd have to waste a lot of time walking around the room and saying, examine floor, examine floor, examine floor, because I'm looking for small clues. So there's a trick that you can do later that I'll show you when there's somebody else in the room. For now, I'm going to show you the secret passage, because sometimes the murder weapon could be here. So one of these walls, every time you play the game, is going to be randomly have a secret panel to enter the secret passage. And of course, there's somebody lurking in the secret passage, hiding behind some cobwebs. So Arya Stark is hiding behind some cobwebs. And there's a wooden mallet. Now, you don't want to discover the murder weapon in front of the murderer, because that will kind of like set them off. I know Arya is not the murderer, so I'm going to examine the mallet. You don't have to type examine, by the way. You can just type EX if you're playing along at home. There's nothing unusual about the mallet. Okay. And there's footprints in the dusty floor, but the murderer went through this secret passage. Now to get out of this room, you have to try and go through the southern wall. So I'm pressing down, and there's no way to get through it. But it's going to eventually find another secret panel. There it is. Now it says you're walking through a blind corridor in a secret passageway. And what's kind of weird about this is it just takes you randomly into another room. Those are some loud. It took me randomly into the room I just came out of. Well, that was a waste of time. I was hoping to teleport to the other side of the mansion. All right, let's go start investigating for real now. Now that we have our magnifying glass. There's a brandy snifter. Oh yeah, but Yara might be the murderer. You know what? I'm going to take a risk. It says Yara is staring at the floor. So if I stand close to Yara and say, examine floor, there seems to be bloodstains on the floor. This must be the scene of the murder. So this is how the other characters in the game can kind of give away where the location is. So you have to be on the lookout. I don't know if you can, it's unlikely the murder weapon is going to be in the same room. I don't know if you can discover the bloodstains without your magnifying glass. I'll have to try that sometime to see. So this is the murder room. Yara is looking at it. I don't know if they programmed that so the murderer would never give away the location. Now, if you look here, is a message that just popped up. It says, the murderer has grown suspicious of your investigation. That's a warning to me that I only have a few more moves to solve this crime. So we already know that it's in that parlor, is where the location was. Now I'm in the sewing room. There's a needlepoint frame innocently on one of the chairs. Let's examine the needlepoint frame. Nothing unusual about the frame. Okay. Let's go out of here. Let's see. Let's examine the piggy bank. Nothing unusual about the piggy bank. So now we're just walking around the mansion, hoping to not run out of turns. And also, we have not determined who the actual murderer is yet, whether it's Yara or Ramsey. So we need to find Olena hanging out in one of these rooms so we can question her, because she'll give away. Jon Snow's practicing some waltz steps. Good for you, Jon Snow. You know what's weird is there's one other character that hasn't showed up, I think. There's Olena, Yara, Arya, Ramsey, Jon Snow. That's 5. There's a 6th character I created lurking around here somewhere. Let's examine the tuba. It's dented, nothing unusual about it. Okay. We're looking for bloodstains before the murderer begins to stalk me. Oh my gosh, Yara's in every room, but no Olena. Where's Olena hanging out? All right, let's look at the shampoo bottle. Oh, lovely. It's an herbal essence. I got 3 more rooms left to search. There's a marble bookend. That would make a nice murder weapon. Bookend. Quite heavy. Well, nothing suspicious there. This is the kitchen. All right, we're down to 2 rooms. We're going to find it. We're going to find it. Examine the pot. There are traces of blood on it. This must be the murder weapon. All right, now, so in this game, if you have identified the murder weapon and you pick it up, that makes it easier for the murderer to kill you once they start stalking you. So, or I think it actually hastens their your demise. So you don't want to pick up the murder weapon until you have the full crime solved. And so now I need to find Olena somewhere. She's not here. There's Arya. I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to find Olena so I can question her. Or I could just make a wild guess and guess that it was Ramsey. What should I do? What should I do? Let's go up here. No one in here. And I lost. It turned out it was Yara. So I would have guessed wrong anyway. So Yara has locked the door and killed me. And that is the basic game of Sleuth. I did terribly. Mainly because I found the magnifying glass in the last room I searched in. So a lot of this game is kind of just luck. You need to find the magnifying glass right away. Now what's interesting is I wonder if the fact that I examined the floor in front of Yara, who was the actual murderer, hastened my demise because it made her grow suspicious of me sooner than she would have. So maybe that was a mistake. You got to be very careful about how you do these investigations. All right, so she's disposed of me. Now, so do you want to quit or restart? Let's give this another playthrough just so you can see how the game can play through differently. It has some replayability factor to it. So let's restart. Let's play Personalized Sleuth. And this time we're going to choose the let's go with, I have no idea how to spell Daenerys, so I'm not going to even put her name in. We'll put in Gregor Clegane. Clegane. That's right. C-L-E-G-A-N-E, I believe. And then we'll do his brother Sandor. Clegane. I really love having Tyrion around. So we'll go ahead and stick with him as well. Who else should I do? How about Peter Baelish? He would make a nice suspect. Whoops. Peter Baelish. All right, we've got 3 more. Let's see. Let's go with some more sus people. Roose Bolton, father of... let's put someone in. We need some sus female characters. We did Elena last time, so let's go with Marjorie Tyrell. And I'm going to take a stab at spelling Daenerys. Daenerys. I think that's right. I believe that's the Daenerys Targaryen. And that's all my suspects. I hate that this DOS box goes by so quickly because it's going to flash a screen up that's like, it's a dark and stormy night. A murder is taking place. But it's going to go by like that. Watch. All right. So now we have the beautifully colored orange and gray. Marjorie Tyrell was brutally murdered only hours ago. Well, that makes sense. The body was removed. Person's unknown. I'm staying at the front door of the Tyrell estate. The door is open. Dun, dun, dun. Let's go ahead and delete all my previous notes and prepare for future note-taking. I'm going to move this cursor out of the way right now. All right, here we go. Let's investigate. And we're in another large mansion. No stairs or second floor this time. All right, the stairs lead up to the west hall. Steps are made more. Oh yeah, I know all these things. All right, so let's look in the sewing room. We're looking for the magnifying glass. Oh, there's Sandor Clegane. Let's go ahead and question him while I've got him available. What does the Hound have to say? Daenerys and I spent the entire evening together in the dining hall. Okay, having a little dinner with the Hound and the Mother of Dragons. So Sandor, I'm going to make this really official. Sandor is with Daenerys. I sure hope I spelled that right. In the dining hall. All right. We're going to have to come back and look at the reading lamp. Let me find. I may have just nerfed my keyboard. There we go. Let's look in the parlor. No magnifying glass in here. There's a drill by the safe. Looks like someone was trying to break into it. It was probably the murderer. Murdered Marjorie and then went after her crown jewels. There's an alarm clock in the bedroom. Let's look in the ballroom for the magnifying glass. Paper mache mask. I wonder if that could be a murder weapon. Doubtful. Oh, there's Daenerys. We can now question her and check out Sandor's story. Oh. I have sticking keys on my keyboard, which does not work well in DOS. I spent the entire evening alone in the dining hall. So I guess I'm your prime suspect. Well, Sandor is lying. Because there's no way that Daenerys is going to say she was alone if she actually committed the murder. So now we know. That was pretty fast. We figured out the murderer really fast. It is Sandor Clegane. She says she was alone in the dining hall, so that can't be the location. So that at least eliminates us having to search there. What's interesting is he said he was with her in the night. He must have known she was in the dining hall. What a clever fella. All right. Now let's see here. We're going to have to find the magnifying glass, the murder weapon, and then identify the location. I got 4 more rooms left to search. Don't need a question tiering because I already know who the manager is. So the nice thing about knowing the murderer this soon is that it will help me to have more moves to make. I won't have to question as many people, which will save me some time. There's the magnifying glass. Now carrying the magnifying glass. So let's see here. There's nothing to look at in the butler's bedroom. The murder weapon is never in the same room as the magnifying glass. We know Sir Gregor, the Mountain, has not committed the murder, so I'm safe to search things in front of him. The sherry looks rather tasty. Okay, so it's not the cooking sherry. And I have a feeling it might not be this room, because if it was, he would have been staring at the floor. Now we know it's not the dining room, but maybe he disposed of the murder weapon here. Nope. And then, of course, Ruse Bolton is standing in front of the bar. Okay. Oh, yeah, I already went in there. Waste of time, waste of time. There's Daenerys. She's not the murderer, so I feel free to do a search in front of her. Nothing special about the soap tray. Ruse is staring at the floor. Ah, that might be a clue. Sometimes they just stare at the floor in contemplation. I'm pretty sure that the mask is not a murder weapon. But let's examine the floor. There's bloodstains on the floor. Okay, so I found the room. It is the ballroom. Thanks, Ruse. And Sandor's the murderer. Now I just have to find the weapon. I have 4 more rooms, plus the weapon could be in the secret hidden passage. Let's go into the vault first and see if the drill... All right, Tyrion is safe. It's not the drill. Let's look in here. Peter, reading lamp. Okay, so the lamp was not the murder weapon. And poor Peter is agitated. Well, Littlefinger, you should be agitated. You're not a cool person. Let's look at the snifter. It's going to come down to the last room. No, it is the snifter. Okay, now that I found the murder weapon, I know the room, I know the murderer. I need to get the weapon. You're now carrying the murder weapon. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, and the murderer is suspicious of my investigation. That means my time is running out. I think I have plenty more time before the murderer starts stalking me, which means I can safely enter this room and put all the pieces together. And welcome, Ruse, for my final showdown. Okay, once you've identified the murderer, the weapon, and the room, or at least you think you have, sometimes when the murderer starts stalking you, you just need to make a wild guess and hope you're right, because it's better to guess and not get murdered. So once you've figured out everyone, you have to gather all the suspects and make an accusation. Oh, wow, everyone's standing very close to me. I'm going to stand up here on the bandstand. So all the suspects are in here at this point. Once you've gathered, the door's locked. You can do nothing else. You just have to accuse somebody. I've got the weapon in hand. I'm going to accuse Sandor. And that should be the end of that. Now, if I accuse the wrong person, Sandor will jump forward and be like, haha, it was me. I think that's what happens if you accuse the wrong person. But I want to win. So we're going to accuse Sandor. Those are so loud. Sandor Clegane turns towards you and glares. Yes, I killed Marjorie, and if the others weren't here, I'd kill you too. Which, by the way, is why you gather. If you find them randomly in a room and accuse them alone, you're screwed. This whole investigation of yours has really put a damper on my weekend plans, Inspector. The case is closed after 241 moves. You now rank as a master sleuth. I think that there's rankings based on how few moves that you spend. Every time you move is a move. Generally, I solve these in about 250 to 200 moves. Under 200 would be amazing. You'd have to like walk in the first room would be the magnifying glass. The next room would have to be the murder weapon. I don't know. Of course, if you find the murder weapon early, again, you don't pick it up because that will get you in trouble. So don't pick it up until you know the murderer and the room. And that, by the way, is the game of Sleuth. And do you want to quit? Yeah, I'll quit. It ends, since I ran the game using the sleuth.bat, it actually loads this text file here, advertising some other games. Hangman, I think I used to play that as well back in the day. And the text file seems to be a generic text file, also advertising Sleuth. So if you had these other games by Eric and Miller, now it's interesting because this is recommending you pay $15, and I believe the Sleuth game recommended you pay $10. So Eric, I have found a typo. Which is it, 15 or 10? I'm going to show you one other thing real quick about this game. These files, these V1, V2, I'm not sure what this game is programmed in. I wish I knew so I could like decompile it and customize it myself. But you can somewhat customize the game. I know you can edit the murder weapon files. So there's two sets of weapon files. If I were to just examine those files using the type command, this is going to, I think, flash a bunch of text by. I'm having keyboard issues again. So there's all this stuff. These are all like the things in caps are the things that you could type. And then there's the descriptions. There's like kind of a messy file. Let's see if I can edit it. I put the edit.com file in this directory from Windows because DOSBox does not generally come with the MS-DOS editor. Okay, so to edit this file, it looks like you have to scroll way over. It's difficult to edit. I'm sure there's a better way to edit the file. Okay, stop scrolling now. You can stop. But yeah, that's just one fun way. I'm thinking about customizing this game, changing all the weapons around. I know I did when I was a kid. I definitely got into just screwing around with customizing all these different things. And then when I'd play through the game, if one of my changes went through, I'd be like, ah, there it is. Obviously, you can customize the murderers. It allows you to do that from the get-go. If you play the default game, it uses murderers that the names are like old-fashioned names. I don't know what file that is, otherwise I'd change the defaults to some kind of fun things like Freddy Krueger or something. I think that we used to definitely play themed games like that, where we'd put in all the family members, or we'd put in names of like horror movie suspects. Anyway, that is the game of Sleuth. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and start clearing out my detective notes. No, delete does not work, or backspace does not work. Interesting. So yeah, that's the game of Sleuth. I hope that you enjoyed this lovely playthrough. And if you have any suggestions for me on how to make better videos, maybe ramble less, or how to, I don't know, if there's any games you'd like to see me play, some old DOSBox games, I have a ton, and I love playing them, living the good old days. So thank you for joining me on this wonderful adventure of old DOS video games.